Well, since you asked the question, I have to say the relationship with France is very important. But it's true. It's a fact as well. So it is with Germany, which is our largest trade partner. But in reality, what had happened to us, and this is our own, in a way, perhaps analytical or operational deficiency in the past. We largely dealt with the big European nation states, even though the EU became deeper and deeper. So if you looked at Indian foreign policy, say 15 years ago, 20 years ago, it would be centered around France or Germany or UK, perhaps Italy or Spain. Now, that underwent a change over the last decade. So those relationships, bilateral relationships, continue. But we have invested an enormous amount of time and effort with the Commission. I mean, I suspect, in my own tenure, probably I've dealt more with the Commission than all my predecessors put together. And that's not because of me. It is because once there is a realization of the importance of the Commission. We've also created mechanisms. We are one of the two countries with whom the EU has a Trade and Technology Council. The other one is the United States. We are seeking to revive our free trade agreement. We had negotiated it, then there were some problems, it didn't get signed, then restarting the negotiations was an issue, but it started under von der Leyen. The FTA, the investment treaty, the geographical indications agreement, these are all right now under negotiations. Am I confident of doing it in the next few months? I thought we were difficult as a bureaucracy, but I can assure you Brussels is a good competitor in this respect. So when two difficult bureaucracies negotiate with each other, I think it would be fair to not press me on a timeline here. But for us, I want to say, Europe as a whole, European Union and Europe, and I'm here in a non-EU country, we did an FTA with the FTA just a few months ago. If you look today at our engagement, the engagement with the EU collectively has gone up. We have an engagement with different subgroupings within the EU, the Nordics, for example. So we engage the Nordics at the Prime Minister's level. I engage the Nordics Baltics at my level. We engage the Central Europeans as a distinct grouping. We do the Mediterranean. In fact, I just last week had the first India-Mediterranean business conference. So what we have done is we have really stepped up our engagement with Europe, and there are 2-3 reasons for it. One, we do think a stronger partnership can accelerate our national growth and development. Europe has resources, it has technology, it has best practices which would be very useful to us. Secondly, we welcome Europe in a way as one of the poles of a multipolar world. I mean, we do see a strategic awakening in Europe. I think recent developments have made Europeans much more conscious about themselves and the world. And I think that's a net asset really to the world. I mean, we want a strong Europe, we want a more contributing Europe, and certainly Europe with which we'd like a bigger partnership. And third, we find Europe in many ways actually a very forward-looking partner on some of the big issues. Yes, there are some issues on which we have strong differences like CBAM, but by and large, I was in Germany yesterday. We have a green and sustainable development partnership with Germany. There are a lot of projects which have moved forward on that. We are today looking at areas like semiconductors and electric mobility as areas of partnership. It's also, by the way, a very interesting partner in terms of mobility of Indian talent. That if when we look at the world today, increasingly we look at the world as a global workplace. And in that global workplace for us, the legal mobility of people, their fair treatment when they go out in the world, the opportunities that they get there, I think all these are important for us. And this deeper engagement with Europe has actually helped very much in terms of mobility. I mean, we see a certain welcome of Indian talent and skills, and we understand this is happening at a time when there are actually difficult immigration debates going on in this continent.
Where does this stand? And let's start with the free trade agreement. I was in fact, the last time I saw you in your office in Delhi 18 months ago, and there was a great buzz around, was there going to be signing of the deal then? Would Rishi Sunak come over? Could he tuck in the cricket as well? There's a whole fuss around it. Then 18 months goes on. Is it intellectual property on pharmaceuticals? Is it visas again? Where is this?
I think some progress has been made in the negotiations. I mean, first of all, let's understand this is a negotiation. And negotiations, and it's a serious negotiation, because when you do an FTA, you're really locking in your country into a long-term arrangement with another partner. So you don't do that in a hurry, you don't necessarily, you don't do that frivolously. So there is a lot of homework, there are a lot of forward projections made of what are the benefits and what are the costs. So it's a fairly complicated process. It's not just like going to a shop and buying something. So given the complexity, to me, it's natural that it would take time.
We were discussing upstairs how this can burn up decades of people's lives.
I'm not sure I think it should take decades. I mean, with the EU, we are into our third decade. It's not experience I recommend to anybody else. But we would like to accelerate this. I got a clear message. I also met Secretary Reynolds. So I think from Prime Minister Starmer, from Foreign Secretary Lamy, from Secretary Reynolds, I got a consistent message from all of them that the British side is also interested in moving it forward. We had a round last month in February in Delhi when Secretary Reynolds was there. We remain in touch. I had a few points to convey on behalf of my concerned colleagues as well. So I am cautiously optimistic that it will, the pace will quicken. Hard to say when it would come to head, but I certainly, would hope that it doesn't take that long.
And in the broader relationship with the UK, how do you see that changing?
Well, look, if we actually do conclude the FTA, which I'm optimistic about, I think it'll have not just an economic or a trade impact. I think it would have a larger relationship impact. I think people will see many more, they would be encouraged to explore a lot of other possibilities. And there are possibilities. I mean, I give you an example. We've had a British university actually open a campus in India. Now, that's a big deal. It's a big deal because when we have a few successful cases, these numbers would grow. Now, we've allowed foreign universities, we've opened up the education sector to foreign universities fairly recently. If you look at the numbers, I mean, we have today about 1 million plus, maybe 1.25 million Indian students studying abroad at any given time. There would be at least twice that number of people who would have been interested, and had they had an opportunity, would have liked to explore that. And in addition to that, there would be many others if they saw instead of them going out, they actually saw the universities coming to their homes or close by, they might be interested as well. So I can think of the education sector as a completely new area which would open up. So when you have something momentous happen in a relationship, I think it will have a ripple impact on a whole lot of other sectors. I see that similarly we are considering making some significant changes to our nuclear policy, including amending our liability legislation and also contemplating the possibility of private sector operators in the nuclear field. Now, that too is a potential area of collaboration. I could give you a whole lot of areas. Now, I think many of these are waiting to happen. We need, something like an FTA would provide that sort of tailwind, which would
it'd be quite wrong for me to ask you in detail everything the Prime Minister said, but nonetheless, what is the stumbling block at this point on the FTA?
And there is no such stumbling block. Look, if there are negotiations sector by sector, I mean, let me say this. I mean, pretty much everything I have read about the FTA in the press is inaccurate. So people often claim...
So visas are not a problem and pharmaceutical IP is not a problem?
It's good you asked me that. Yeah. Visas have nothing to do with FTA. I mean, the only visas the FTA is concerned with are the visas for intra-corporate transferees, which is business people going to take up jobs in their particular branch of the same business. So I saw these stories or these reports that somewhere there are visa demands. That's not the case. And I could give you a whole lot of other inaccurate examples. Look, it's not that there's some big boulder out there which we need to get out of the way. I think these are painstaking negotiations. And they are painstaking because, as I said, these are serious commitments which are being made, which have economic consequences, which will affect the lives of people in a way. So I think there is a sense of responsibility with which negotiators go about that business.